So I was asked by a PA if quitting their first job in 6 months was a bit too early. And this got me thinking. Amongst the many selling points of the PA role, the non-rotational nature is key, making us quasi-permanent staff in a department. I say quasi because the flexibility aspect of the role can be exercised at any point we see fit, like someone I know already considering pediatrics before starting their new job. No names mentioned. So I asked myself, are PAs really ride or die, or was it just some false advertisement? I did some digging and came across a paper that set out to do just that. A survey from the longest running PA program was done, looking at qualified physician associates from 2006 to 2020, and they split them into 3 groups. You had the early, the mid, and the recent ones. The early cohort was between 2006 and 2013, mid was 2014 to 2017, and the recent ones were between 2018 to 2020. Of the 255 qualified PAs within this time period, about 70% replied to this survey, and amongst these, 17% fell in the earlier cohort, 35% in the mid cohort, and 51% in the recent cohort. Between the early and the mid, the average time spent on their first job was about 3 years, and less than a year for the recent ones. In fact, 17% of the recent cohort have already worked 2 specialties, while 78% of the early and 35% of the mid have also done the same. Taking into consideration the fact that most of the early cohort were on fixed contracts because of the novelty of the role and the associated uncertainties, compared to the permanent contract that most of the current cohort are on. If looked at from this perspective, these recent graduates are hella flexible. Having said that, 75% of recent graduates are still working in their first job. Amongst the early and mid cohort, most PAs tend to stay in their first job for about 7 years. Some people have even crossed the 10-year mark, and a handful are still in their first job. For over 14 years, they are still doing the same job. Is that not crazy? Recent graduates, on the other hand, are about that 1 year and dip business. The main reason for dipping seems to be relocation, the lack of opportunities, and work-life balance. Work-life balance, I found it a bit strange because that was one of the selling points of physician associate. Like, you are flexible, you have a better work-life balance than some of our bros, but it seems that is one of the reasons why people quit. I wonder what specialty they were working in, because in GP land, that work-life balance is... The lack of opportunity mirrors the sentiment of some of our bros across the pond, because it leads to burnout, dissatisfaction, which are superb primers for losing a workforce that have a way out. We are not stuck in any training program. If we don't like it, we just pick our bags and we salute. So on the whole, no false advertisement was done, because 3 years on average and 7 years most of the time, I think that is a fair deal. To my bro that asked if 6 months was too early, bro, honestly, I don't know, because only you know what you are going through and what you're experiencing on a daily basis. Speak to your folks, give them a chance to course correct. If they don't listen, bro, there are a lot of jobs out here. Don't sweat it. NHS ain't going nowhere. The gaps are still there. They need help. We can help in our own way. So don't even sweat it. It's your boy OT, and I'm out. Salute.